In this video, I will give an orientation overview to using Slack for Bio 131. There are many ways to get into the Slack workspace for this class. One easy way to get in is to start with the course Moodle site. There's also links in the technology page, in OneNote, it's in many places, but one easy way to find it is by going to Moodle, and you'll see it's right on the front page here under Bio 131 Slack workspace. So whichever way you find the link to the workspace, once you click on the workspace, the first time you get into it, it should um, usually opens the workspace in a browser tab. So this is what it would look like if you were working, I don't know why it opened too, I must have double clicked, but it looks like in the browser tab. Now, of course, you can work in the browser version of Slack all semester long if you would like. I do prefer myself to work in the app um, through the desktop most of the time, but also through my phone. So if you want to use an app on your desktop and or phone, you would want to download the app for that particular platform. And once you have the app downloaded on your system, if you want to open the workspace in that system, one easy way of doing that is going when you open it through the link and it opens through a browser tab, then you go to the upper left-hand corner where it says Bio 131-all and has this little arrow. And then if you click that, it opens up this little tool window. And then if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see it says open the Slack app, and that will open it up in another browser window, but then it should open up a window that says open in Slack. I am on a Windows 10 machine, so it may be different if you are on a Mac or some other platform. But basically, there are other ways of getting into this, a workspace as well, but this is one way of doing it that's fairly straightforward. Once you're in the workspace, you'll see that I have a lot of different workspaces here. So this is the Bio 131 workspace, but I have a lot of other workspaces. Many of my workspaces are also associated with Smith, and some of them are not. So these ones down here are not associated with Smith. They're totally separate, not related at all to Smith. And then all of these ones are related to Smith. One thing that's interesting is that certain things go, the Smith Enterprise version kind of connects all these workspaces together, and the direct messages will show up throughout all of the different workspaces. So just keep that in mind. Let's say I wanted to send a direct message to someone, you would just click on Messages, new message up here, and then you can type who you want it to go to. You can also um, send a message to a channel as well through this new messages. But let's say I want to send a message to my colleague, Michael Baresi, Professor Baresi, I would just choose him from the options or start typing in his name and it should come up. So like if it wasn't showing up there, I could just start typing in his name and it shows up. Lots of other people will show up as well. Pretty much everyone in Smith is in the system, and then I can type a message to him. You can use emojis, you can attach files, you can mention other people, you could do a group message by having multiple people in here. And because direct messages works across all workspaces, you'll see that even though right now I'm in the Bio 131 workspace and Professor Baresi is not actually in this workspace, I can still access my direct messages to anyone at Smith from any of the Smith workspaces. So if he responds to me, a notification may show up in whatever workspace I happen to be in last. So that could be a little confusing, but just note that um, the direct messages will show notifications and show up in all of the Smith workspaces, regardless of whether the person is in that workspace or not. So direct messages are a great way to contact individual people or groups of people. But what we have workspaces for is to kind of direct a bunch of information to just the people in that workspace. So in the Bio 131 workspace, everyone in all the lab sections for this course all have access to this workspace. And then there are several channels within this workspace. Right now, I don't have anything in them because I've just set this up, but you can see there's different channels, and we would just post certain things in different channels, and each channel will tell you what should go in it. So the announcements channel is for class-wide communication and announcements. All members from all lab sections are in this channel. So if I post something in this channel, it will be seen by everyone in this course, in this workspace. But Professor Baresi, who's not in this course, would not see anything that I post in the announcements. So this would just be for people in this course. And you can set up channels to be, if you wanted to have a channel that's a private channel for just your group in your lab section, if there's like 3 people in your group, you could have a private channel that's just for the 3 of you in your group. You could also just do a direct message, group message between your group. But remember that if it's a channel, it will only show up in that particular workspace. If it's a direct message, it'll show up under any of the Smith workspaces. I also have various other channels, like the general channel is a place for us to introduce each other, post things of general interest to the whole course. There's a nature channel. The Interacting with Nature project is something we'll be working on throughout the semester. You can post pictures of videos from observations in nature or things in nature that are important to you. You can discuss the citizen science projects that you like or don't recommend, etc. Anything related to nature in general, and that project of interacting with nature would go in this channel. There's a questions channel that's for any questions related to course content, whether it's logistics or content or help with data analysis in R, all can go here. And this is a really useful place to get questions answered that you're not, if you send just me an email, only I will see it and only I will respond to you. Whereas here, if you post a question here, then all the TAs will see it, other students will see it. I won't be the only one seeing it, so it may get answered more quickly. And also, if I do answer it here, everyone gets the benefit of seeing the question and answer, not just a private message. If you want to privately message me, you can use a direct message. But I really encourage you to try to post questions in the questions channel, especially once we get into doing a lot of R stuff. It's really, if you have a question, it's very likely other people have a similar question. So posting it here is really helpful. We also have the random channel for, this is just a place for community building, fun, memes, news you think others would be interested in, and etc. This is, should just, anything that you think doesn't fit in some of these other categories, but is more of a fun thing would, or really, really interesting thing could go in the random channel. I may add additional channels like for particular lab sections, but these are the channels I have in here now. What's nice about these channels is that, again, you can, it's a, like an email, you can just type text, but you can also do a little, it has, some basic formatting here. You can put in links, you can attach files, you can put emojis in here, you can mention people. You can also put in code snippets. So, if you wanted to do like, I think, yeah, this is a code snippet. You can also go under shortcuts, create a text snippet, or there's other things, updating your status. There's other things lots of things you can do. And I can show you more of them later. But basically, there's a lot of ways you can interact with each other through these channels. You can also search through them. So let's say you're interested in, you were having trouble with something in R, and you think that I have posted something, or you're curious to see if I've already posted something. You can search. No, that's not what I meant to do. You can search from, that's what I meant to do, from at Marty Pratt. So this would pull up all the messages from me. You could also put a particular workspace. I'm going to look at a workspace from last semester just because I don't have much in this semester's yet. Um, you can look at, our questions. Did I get it? Our questions. There, maybe you were having trouble with an R Markdown file. So you could say, R Markdown or RMD or whatever. .rmd. And you can see that I did post a message that had something to do with that type of file in this channel, and it was from me. So you can really hone down into something specific if you're searching for things using this search. And if you're having trouble finding things in the search or figuring out how to use search, I recommend just going to a browser window and just typing in Slack and search. And there's a lot of resources. This basic one that comes up first is a good overall um, tutorial, or it's an overall description of how you can use search in Slack, and a lot of shortcuts and different modifiers and things like that. So if you're looking for something really specific, you can find things very specifically in Slack if you use the right modifiers. Some other things that are kind of fun in Slack. I'll just go to, I put in a lot of announcements and things like that. So like you can see that I put in, announcements last semester, and students responded with emojis. So you can respond with an emoji that says you liked it, or thank you for that, or thumbs up, I saw this. You can also respond um, to a particular message, I'm having trouble with this or whatever in a thread. Um, so I think it's really helpful to me if you do respond with an emoji to know, so that I know that you saw something with a thumbs up, or if you've completed something, you could put a check mark. You liked something a lot, you can put a heart or whatever. There's a lot of emojis. Something makes you mad, you can put in a mad face or whatever, right? So there's lots of emojis in here. You can change the skin tone um, for your emojis. I'm kind of a medium skin tone, but there's not all the possible skin tones, but there's a few different skin tones you can choose from here. Um, if you've just looked at something but haven't had a chance to really dive into it, you can put the little, eyeballs, like, oh, I've seen this, I've seen it. There's, lots of emojis. What else do I want to show you? Oh, you can also set your status up here. You can, edit your profile to add a picture. You can see right now I have a little green dot and it says I am active. So if I'm active, you can know that I'm probably on my computer doing things, and I haven't set do not disturb. So maybe you might hear from me quickly. But you can also pause notifications. So if you don't want to be getting notifications, you can say, okay, for the next 2 hours, I'm focusing on writing this paper or whatever, and I don't want any distractions. You can pause your notifications so that you're not getting notified. You can also set a notification schedule so you don't ever get notifications like early in the morning and at night, or whatever you want to do. So you can update your status. You can choose your own things. These are kind of the default ones, but there's other things that you can put in there. I think that's all the basics in terms of how to use Slack. We will be using Slack a lot in this class. I will expect you to check it frequently. You can set your notifications. So like for the announcements channel in particular, you could go to options for that channel, and you can, well, I think these are my special options. Maybe it's over here. Yeah, if you click on the little eye, information, you can go to the details. You can mute announcements, which you don't want to do because announcements are usually things that I think are important for you to see. You can actually manage, actually, I guess this is what I see. Manage, this is not what I'm looking for. I thought there was a way. I must not just be finding it right now. You can, maybe it's just under the whole workspace. But if you go under preferences, I think, for the whole workspace, and then notifications, you can change your settings for your overall notifications. I guess you can't do it for a particular channel necessarily, but you can put in all new messages, direct messages, mentions, and keywords, or nothing. Um, if you're not actively checking your Slack a lot, you do want to have it notify you, especially about direct messages, mentions, etc. Maybe all new messages. You can change, various things here for your notifications. And other preferences as well, change how it looks, etc. So there's a lot of things you can change and dig into. If you have a question, you can probably just do an internet search for it and find the answer. There's a lot of useful documentation from Slack as well as Smith, and other people. So I will be using it for instead of email for announcements, and it is my way of contacting you. We will use it during class. um, Sometimes, especially when you're in breakout rooms, you can only use the Zoom chat within your breakout room. So that doesn't allow us to have as much communication between breakout rooms or between me and the breakout rooms. So having it on your phone might be useful. So you're doing Zoom on your computer and Slack on your phone or a tablet or something like that. Um, but we'll be using Slack a lot, so you are expected to check it. It's much more organized and actually, in some ways, more intuitive. It's a lot more like texting and group texting that where you're using emojis, and it's a little more informal feeling than email. And I really prefer it to email. So when contacting me for this class, you can go through direct messages on Slack, or you can, if it's something that more than just me is might be interested in, post it in any of the appropriate channels on our Slack um, workspace. So make sure that if you are confused or need any help, that you get the help that you need. I'm happy to help you with anything you're confused on. Once you get going on it, it's, I think, pretty intuitive and pretty easy to use. So hopefully you will enjoy using this as a way to build community and communicate with each other instead of email for this class.